As the first humans to ever venture out this far into the frontier.
Too fast! Sensitive poison damage.
Get out!
I thought we were both goners.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show. I'm Operation DX, and welcome to episode 22 of my Planet Explorers version 0.72 Let's Play. During the previous episode, we used our air exploration vehicle to rescue a couple of people who survived the crash of their lifeboat, but they were trapped on top of a mountain. We were able to get them down and arrive back at the Earth camp safely, and Arturo taught us how to build our colony. So essentially what we're working on right now is getting resources in preparation for building our colony. We are currently located in a mine shaft that we started earlier, right next to the Martian camp, and this is where the gold is located. Now that we have gold tools, we're actually going to get a lot of resources every swing. I'm also going to be able to deploy my mine shaft making technique now that I have the proper tool. Before we had an iron tool and it wasn't quite cut for the job, but now I can do exactly what I want to do. So basically I sit in one location and then I cut all around me and then I cut right in front of me, and I should just slide right down to the next tier. Now this will stop happening when I start running into better resources like the gold, because it actually takes a few more swings to actually cut. We're not going to need to spend a ton of time here, because now that we have the gold pickaxe, we'll get a lot of gold. Maybe 20, 30 per big block that we break or whatever. So that will help minimize the time spent here, because the majority of the gold that we're going to mine here is essentially going to be used just for repairing my tools. At this time, gold doesn't seem to be used for a lot of different stuff. I mean, of course, we can craft armor and swords and our tools. I imagine that gold may have a use for advanced technologies maybe later on, and we may be seeing possibly some more ore types later on too. At least I would think we would, because we can in fact buy a diamond sword and shield, which it'd be kind of interesting if you could never craft it and yet someone has one for sale. So that is probably something that's being thought about by the developers. Another big resource we're going to need is coal, and that is going to be used by our power plant to power up all of our gadgets at our colony. Now, I feel at this time it's really kind of a misbalanced thing. It's something that really needs to be tweaked, because I feel that the power plant consumes too much coal for the limited amount of time that it can operate. It also requires your input every hour to operate, and that is extremely tedious. Those are things we'll see very, very shortly within the next couple of episodes. I'm also going to need aluminum. Aluminum is going to be important for our gardening stuff. It's used for making the fertilizer pellets for the fertilizer gun, which we will get by completing one of the quests in Earth Camp. Yep. Once we're ready to start planting stuff, I'm going to have to head out and get some water. And unfortunately, we still only have that little pitcher that gives us 2 units per scoop. And that's something I was talking about during the beginning of this Let's Play. But we'll need to get a large portion, probably 2 stacks, and a stack is 100 units of water. So we'll need to have a bunch of that on us for when we're going to farm. Also, in this stage of the game, in version 0.72, the farming system is not completely realized, so some of the intended features aren't quite functioning yet. And those are, you want to put some, I think it's insecticide or it's pesticide on your plants to protect it. And there's an indicator that comes up halfway through the growth stage to actually put that on there. And it's not functioning. You can just kind of let it go. And you only really need to water your plants once, or nothing really bad will happen. But that's something that's probably going to be fixed later on. We're making some good progress here. We can see gold in the back, and actually we just hit the gold layer and we're starting to mine it now. So we're not going to have to spend a super large portion of time here. In fact, if I spend enough time here just getting the little bit of gold I'll need, we'll never need to come back here again during this Let's Play. So now you can kind of get a good idea of how this technique works. We don't have like a little stepping thing like we had in the last mine. And sometimes well, actually the first mines that I created were absolutely hideous, and I had a hard time getting back out of them. In fact, I did so bad damage sometimes I had to reload the save. So I found this to be like the nice, clean, smooth method, and we can just turn around and walk right back up that 45-degree angle and get out of the mine shaft. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have to load a save. You can just fast travel out of the mine. So if you get stuck in a mine, you did something stupid and you can't get out of it, you can just fast travel right out of it. And that's actually one of the good uses for fast travel. But I've got it all kind of figured out now. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't really happen to me anymore. Actually, I think I'm going to sit here for a little bit, just a couple more minutes. I'm just going to secure our future for ever needing gold, and we won't need to come back here ever again. However, if we ever did need to come back here, this is actually a huge cache of gold. We'd have to kind of do this little sidestep maneuver, maybe cut through to the left and then start another shaft downwards, because it's not all clean. But that's kind of how I like it. I mean, it's not like other games where you run into this block of ore or whatever and you mine it or whatever. This is kind of cool. You can kind of see where it is on the scanner, and I don't know. I really do like it. One of the things that we got during the previous episode that is pretty awesome is we got the jetpack. And in a crunch, you can take off with the jetpack and then deploy your glider. And it's actually a really cool way of being able to travel around really quickly. Although, you inevitably hit back towards the ground, and sometimes like there's a lot of elevated terrain and it makes it tough to get around in any consistent manner. That's why I definitely like using the exploration flying vehicle that I created to get around, because it makes it easier. We will need to eventually find a way to repair and recharge that, but that's what we're working on right now. Once we have our colony up, we will be able to recharge and repair our vehicle. What's really nice about the exploration vehicle that we created is it's super cheap on resources. So when we go to repair it, it only requires like a couple units of wood, because the main body of that craft is just made out of wood. So it makes it really, really easy to repair. You don't seem to have to repair the damaged components like the fuel cell. You don't need to put a few like fuel in there or a few metal, which you probably should have to do that, but I don't know. But you definitely need a colony to repair those kind of things. So to recharge it, you'll need the power plant, and then there's actually a repair station that we can get. There's also an awesome module that allows us to make our equipment better. It's the Enhance module, and it allows us to make our weapons more powerful and our armor have more durability. And it says it improves your tools' durability, but every time you do it, it doesn't work. So there are still a couple of features in it that aren't fully realized yet. But man, I really, like I said, I keep saying it, and I said it during a couple previous episodes, I cannot wait till the later colony stuff gets implemented. Okay, well, I think we've spent enough time at the gold mine here. I can't foresee us needing to come back here ever again. I guess we'll see, but I just don't see it. Next stop, we're heading for the meteorite crater. And that's an area where we already have iron, copper, and coal exposed. There actually is another large deposit of coal in that region. But since we already have that coal exposed, we won't need to spend the time digging down. So we'll be able to make things a little quicker, because I want to get to building the colony really soon. So that's priority number one. Again, coal is the primary resource that makes the power plant function, so that's why we need some. We do actually have a little bit on us from previous mining ventures, but the coal power plant does consume a lot, and we're going to want to use it for doing other things. So we're going to make sure we have that well established. Isn't this the coolest little vehicle? As I expressed before, it's kind of a similar design to one I saw on the forums, kind of gave me the idea for building it. Before, I was trying to build some crazy monstrosity, and they get pretty heavy, and you got to put a lot of rotors, and they get a little expensive. This one is, really cheap to make. I mean, I've got an idea for like even a cheaper one I could do, but I like this one. It's cool. You got a little back seat there. It's a little bit misbalanced, so if you just let this thing sit in the air, it will kind of like tilt in one direction and start moving in one direction. That's one of the things you got to kind of be careful of in this game, working on craft. If you misbalance like the rotors and stuff, it will become a little unstable and difficult to fly. But this one is a very stable craft. It's very fast. It has tons of energy, and it can get you around the map really quickly. Okay, so you know what? Before we hit up the meteorite crater, I'm actually going to check the mushroom mountaintops here for that particular type of plant we need to build those lights, because I don't think we've collected any yet, and we're going to need those. And we're getting around that time, so I want to make sure I have everything I need when I start building the colony. Just going to kind of scour here. Okay, there's some. So we're going to land down in this. This thing is actually really easy to control too. Like it has, you just hit the Control or Alt key and then the space bar to make your throttle go up and down, and then you just use the standard WASD, WASD, and yeah, it's not too tough to fly around. It's not like Kerbal Space Program or anything. I believe this is the final plant in the equation for building that blacklight pigment, so we should be good to go. And like I said, we don't need a ton of them. We only need to be able to craft just a few, and we're good. And I think we have seeds of most of the plants we have, so it will give us the ability to build a crap ton. And the bigger the garden, the better. Okay, so we got a couple. Let's make our way. We're almost there. To check the map real quick. You may have noticed before we landed on that, we passed that rock where we encountered Lal and Adaya or Disa, whatever. Everyone's pronouncing her name differently, but I think Adaya is the proper pronunciation. That's the way it's spelled anyways. Here we go, round 2. So as you probably can expect, the next couple episodes will involve a lot of resource collection. Fortunately, a lot of these areas have already been exposed by us, by our earlier quests, so we shouldn't have to spend a ton of time here. Oops, I got hung up on Rawl. It's good Rawl's actually entering my craft. Sometimes she doesn't, and she'll just like start spawning around or near it. I'm just going to spend a little time here mining a little bit of iron, because we're going to need steel for some of those other structures. But see how 20 iron just rolled off. This is why you want to wait for the gold pickaxe. It is far, far superior. Now, I know earlier one of the commenters told me I should use a shovel because there's no difference in this version of the game. But it just feels wrong using a shovel. Ooh, see that? 45 iron. And there's a little coal in this area too. I could probably kill 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing here, but let's get a little more iron. I may need to make a lot of steel. I might as well just get everything while I'm here, because we'll probably need to craft a few more bullets for the basic turrets. The laser turrets take some stuff to build, and they take quite a bit of resources. So I may start off with those cheap turrets that just require bullets. And I think you only need 100 bullets, and they'll have 200 rounds in them. I think after that, though, when you refill them, I'm not quite sure how the system works. I don't know if it gives you 2 shots for every 1 bullet. That's something I haven't really paid close attention to. Of course, the higher-end laser turrets are pretty awesome, and I think at this time they don't require the use of a power plant. So you don't have to place them within the range of the power plant. But also the power transmission range of the power plant is kind of short, and it doesn't give you like the ability to put things very far away. So it makes things a little too confined. And I think you can only put a limited amount of buildings at your colonies. So you can have like, 1 repair unit, 1 enhanced unit, power plant, maybe 1 colony place where people can settle in, and that's it. So yeah, there's still a lot of tweaking to be done there, I think. Even though we're also, it looks like we're picking up dirt blocks, this is actually a really good spot for us, because I think the majority of the buildings I'm going to make from dirt, which essentially just turn into brick. So it's fine. Everything's working out here. And of course we're going to need the sulfate, and we're going to need everything else. We're going to need the sulfur for making bullets. So this is actually a really good stop here. That's kind of weird. I kind of cut through here on my mine. Now I know you guys did get to see how deep I made this, but by walking through here you probably get an idea of like how deep this mine has gotten. This pretty much started off from nothing. We had a rock face when we worked on from the earlier episodes, and we've dug all the way in here. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, I have this like really cool idea for like this elaborate colony that I want to build, but unfortunately I just kind of want to wait before I go super crazy with this game until updates come, because I don't know if there's going to be like wipes and world wipes and that sort of thing, so I don't want to go like super nuts with it. But like, I have plans with this game, man. I have plans. One of the things I want to try is to do like a floating colony where you can see the entire bubble shield like surrounding it, and then you can, you know, only get there with your air vehicles and stuff. But, you know, I want to kind of make it look legit too, though. Like, I don't want it to have like this big thing coming out of the ground. I want to kind of use the lights to make it look like there are engines that are keeping it up in the air and stuff. But also, you know, the draw distances and stuff can, you know, make that look a little awkward. And you don't want to put it too high in the air because, you know, it'll just you won't be able to see it when you're below it and stuff. So, I don't know. I'm just going to try some different stuff out, stuff I haven't done yet, but I have some ideas, man. I have some ideas. Something like that probably wouldn't function as a colony where you could use NPCs with to go, like, do the standard stuff, but anyway. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap things up for this one, guys, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day and take care.